can record. Okay, well, come on. Questions on whatever you want to.
In extract 6, we've already corrected, but I have a doubt concerning the keys, because when it says Laura, my sister Laura drove a car off the bridge, we wrote off the bridge as a adverbial adjunct of place, PP, and the key said objective complement. I don't know if there are two versions, because the verb drive is kind of drive something to a place.
This one I have plunged off the bridge.
No. The sentence that starts as the war ended. My sister Laura.
The beginning.
The first one.
Drove a car off a bridge. No, that is not an objective complement. No.
Because the key said that.
Okay.
Okay.
So
no, it's an adverbial adjunct of place.
Now, in order for it to be an objective complement, it have to kind of complement the object in some way. Meaning either the meaning of the verb changes, or it affects the direct object directly, which is not the case here.
Okay. Well, okay. That because it was written, I have to check. The thing is, I thought it was like put, like some kind of verb that requires some kind of. Okay, great. Another thing is, just to clarify, the next sentence, when it says she went right through the danger sign, the danger sign, right would be kind of pre-modifier of the preposition.
Yes. True? Yes.
Okay, because I was very used to, finding pre-modifiers of nouns or whatever, but then
no. No, the point is the following. You know what? Adverbs in English can virtually modify anything. Okay? For example, if I tell you the very sentence that we were talking about, for example, okay, this is an adverb, okay, and it's pre-modifying head noun, okay, right? So they're used, of course, not many adverbs, but let's say these short adverbs that can be placed anywhere in the sentence sometimes can modify way too many things. Okay? Right? Or for example, imagine that I tell you, where are my glasses? And somebody says, they are just on your nose, for example, something like that. Okay, so all of this would have been the subjective complement, and just is a pre-modifier to the preposition, and to the preposition, also to the whole complement of it. So this is the subjective complement, PP, with the head preposition. I mean, this just could have been taken away. This is the object to the preposition, and just is a pre-modifier, which is an adverb. Okay. Great. Very frequently, they are short adverbs. Okay.
Right.
That involve some kind of degree in a way, or some kind of specification. Okay.
When it comes to ditransitive verbs, but the sentence has not an overt indirect object, because in the assignment we have the verb, the books he had been given. In that case, We still say it's ditransitive, no
Yes,
matter.
yes, but in that case, because I think it was the two objects, and neither of the two objects are there. Okay, one of them because of of the passive construction has become the subject of the clause. Okay, he. Okay, he was originally the indirect object, and then eventually it became the subject through passivization. Apart from that, you have a geo gap within a defining relative clause. Okay, so you need to write down di-tv between brackets in the passive.
Great. That because I got confused because the other day we didn't have a direct object, and then we said that it was a pseudo intransitive verb instead of transitive, and I said, well, when it's not present, you have to adapt the name.
No, but one thing is when it's not present because of contextual reasons.
Great.
Quite another thing is if it's not present because of syntactic reasons.
Great. So in this case, it's syntactic.
Yes.
So in a way, it's present, but transform in the gap. There's a gap, or there's a subject. There's some kind of transformation, but they're present. Okay.
Yes, 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 exactly. The right word is that you've used. Okay, transformation, because later on we'll get to see what happens in generative grammar. In generative grammar, we will see how elements generate, in what places they generate, okay, and eventually they undergo some kind of movement. Okay, all right.
Sorry, how do we realize that these adverbs are pre-modifier and not adjuncts?
Well, okay. For example, the ones that I've marked here in green. Okay, because these adverbs are referring not to the verb, but to something else. Okay, so you need to pay attention to what they are specifying, let's say. Typically, not with the verb to be, but for example, well, let me tell you, for this, we need to see something that is called, well, the scope of adverbs that I think we have already seen. Okay. Adverbs can have what is called wide scope or narrow scope. Now, means that the adverb affects all of the clause. Okay? In order for the adverb to have wide scope, it has to be placed specifically in a clear position. For example, let's take, one that you will understand this with the adverb not. But there are some others such as even, also, just, right, straight, etc., etc., etc. For example, typically, the typical position of not is after the first auxiliary, if you have one. Okay, for example, let's say Henry will not have understood this topic. Okay? After the first auxiliary, okay, in that case, the adverb has got wide scope, meaning this can be paraphrased as it will not be the case that, and then all the rest. Henry will have understood this topic. Probably goes on, right? So this not affects everything. In every other position, because the problem is that others are very mobile. In every other position, it has narrow scope. Meaning, I can say, not Henry will have understood this topic. Or for example, to say Henry will not have understood, will have understood not this topic. Well, and many other possibilities. So in this case, not this topic, all of this is a geo. This not is restricted to the geo, and within the geo, this is working as a premodifier, not as an agent of negation. The culture is still an adverb, okay, but it's no longer an agent of negation, right? Because the sentence implies Henry will have understood not this topic, but all of the others. You see that there is something implied there. Or, for example, not Henry will have understood this topic, but all of the other students. Okay? All of this, not Henry, would have been the subject, within which not is a premodifier to Henry. Okay, once in a while you have things like those. The same holds true for some other others. For example, he will even have understood this topic. This can be paraphrased as it will even be the case that he will have understood this topic. Okay? Or if I say Henry will have understood even this topic, poor Henry, you know, he has some problems of understanding, but you know, we are making a point that he has understood even this topic. You understand? You see the difference? Mean, in this stands for understood, right? I've just simplified it a bit. So the point is that in a specific position, only in a specific position, well, even the word only, you see, the adverb only. Only in a specific position will the adverbs have wide scope, meaning will affect the whole of the clause. You can have them in every other position as well, but in this case, they have narrow scope within a phrase. Okay? Now, with the verb to be, okay, the verb to be works as the only auxiliary. For example, Henry is, let's say, not interested in grammar. Okay, so in that case, not has the typical position after the verb to be. Okay, so in that case, that is an agent. Okay.
What if they appear between the subject and the verb, but there is no auxiliary? Like, I don't know, Jonathan never wanted something. They are actions, right?
Well, but in that case, you can use the verb, the other never, never, works in a different way. No, that is an agent. No, that is an agent. Sometimes it's a question of emphasis, okay? But compared with not, for example. Try to use some other adverb, okay? Meaning, use the substitution test and see what happens in that sentence, whether you can place it in that position or not. Okay?
And if they appear at the end, like I went to the shop yesterday, they are actions as well, right? Yes.
They are, you said? Sorry?
Actions.
Yes, yes, yes. Typically, there is a clear order in which the agents should appear. Okay? For example, place appears before time. Okay? Right? Now you will find it natural to say, yesterday in final position. The problem is that yesterday does not necessarily work the same as this one, because yesterday is much more mobile. You can say yesterday somebody did whatever. But what is it that happens? Yesterday, in that case, will have a different intonation group. That's why there is a comma there after that. Okay? So this thing that I told you about was for the kind of short adverbs specifically. Okay? Is it clear?
Yes, thank you.
Well, what else?
Jose, I have a question. You mentioned, an example, they are just on your nose. So just on your nose, I'm doubting whether it's subjective complement or a adverbial adjunct.
No, because the point is that you have the verb to be there. The verb to be
that's why.
requires subjective complement.
Okay, so it's subjective complement, PP.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Always go back to the verb in that clause, in the specific clause, in order for you to recognize whether something is an agent or not.
Thank you. Yes.
I've got another question, nothing to do with this. It's related to numbers. I saw in the key that they are considered pronouns, and I don't know why exactly.
Well, to begin with, you know what? Originally, they are determiners. But in order for them to be determiners, they need to pre-modify a noun. Okay, for example, if I say, I have 3 questions. Okay, well, in that case, it's a pre-modified determiner. But if you tell somebody else says, I got, lucky you, I got 9, okay? So 9 there, is taking the place of the whole thing, 9 questions, okay? So it's replacing the whole noun phrase.
So in this case would be 22 years, the thing that is replacing in the struct.
Yes, that's right. Whenever you say, he's 15, full stop. Okay, in that case, it's a pronoun. Remember that determinants can work pronominally. Okay, when you say he's 15 years old, in that case, it's a prima definite determiner. Okay, so numbers will be either determinants or pronouns.
In the
Great.
case of 15 years old, what category and function would have old?
Okay, you tell me. Good question.
Can you repeat the question?
He's 15 years old. What about old? What is old?
Post modifier.
Yes. And the category?
Adjective.
Yes.
Adjective.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Right.
I've got another question if nobody else wants to ask one, but I've got problems with IVs, with subjective complement, a copular verb, and light verbs, the differences between them.
Okay. Let's see. Light verb, is some semantic notion, actually. I mean, in the syntax, in the analysis, you will never write down light verb. Okay? Careful with that. Okay, you will write either, for the verbs, you will write down either copulative verb or IV or TV or ITV. Okay? Right? So, light verb has to do with the meaning. Okay? Very frequently, the problem is that these light verbs involve a change in categorization of the verb from the point of view of syntax. Okay? And what you have to analyze, I mean. For example, let's say, well, not always, but let's say there are way too many of them, like pay, take, come, go, let's say do, well, etc., etc. For example, go typically is what kind of verb? I feed. Okay? But if I say, he went crazy, in that case, what kind of verb is that one?
Is it copular? Or
Yes.
but in that case, I wouldn't distinguish between copular and light verb, or a light verb can be copular. And
that's the point, exactly. No, that's the point. One thing is the light verb, which is a semantic notion.
Okay, so they overlap.
Yes, yes, exactly. That is, from the point of view of semantics, that is a light verb. Okay, mean it's not one that carries the meaning there. Okay, the meaning you get from the whole construction. Okay. What I mean is, let's say, for this verb, let's say, I don't know, go, come, let's say run, what is the name? Let's say take.
Drive.
Yes, drive as well, drive. Very frequent verbs, okay? Whenever they're used with a meaning different from the first entry for each of them, okay, they will be considered to be like verbs. Okay? Now, in the syntax, you won't write down like verb. Okay? But you need to be aware of the fact that it may change the typical category of that verb. Meaning, come, for example, most of the times is an IV. When it's kind of, let's say, the opposite of the alternative for go. But if I say, he came undone, you see, in this construction. Now, you won't consider this an IV any longer, but precisely this is what kind of verb in this construction.
Copula.
Popular.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay.
And if I say the conversation came to an end, in that case too, right? It would be a copular.
Well, no, in that case, because it's no, one thing that you can think of is that whenever is typically adjectival, you will consider the verb as kind of, let's say, a copulative verb, okay? But to an end is a PP, okay? So in that case, it remains to be, let's say, but the point is that came in that construction that you said, okay, is an IV, but this IV does require a subjective complement. Because to an end is the most important part of that clause. Okay? Let's say,
So-
the conversation came to an end. This is the same as saying the conversation ended. So, remember this, that we will explore later on. The predicator of the sentence is this one. Okay? It's
That's why it's a kind of tricky, because then you think, well, it's a copular verb because the...
No, but the thing is that you need to have, a PP. This is a, well, let me write it down in some other colorful.
So in this case would be like kind of metaphorically the same meaning of come. Come to a place, come to an end.
Yes, exactly.
So it's a metaphor, but the meaning is come to a place.
Yes. Only that this case is necessary information there. Okay.
But Jose, how do we tell that something is the predicator and something is not?
Well, how can I put it then? Well, you need to understand, that every clause hangs around one word. Okay? For example, if you say, I don't know, let's take one kind of sentence, example such as this one. What is the predicator in that sentence?
Noticed?
Yes. Let's take another one. When you read the book on semantics, you will understand, you know, what I'm talking about. When I'm saying predication or predicator. For example, in the first one in extract number 7, what is the predicator?
Well, again, the verb.
I think it's
Married.
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 Married, not the verb.
Married.
Marry is in the verb.
No,
No.
got it. The verb. Okay. In the next one, the predicator, most of the times the predicator is the verb. For example, here, graduated, found.
So get in that case is copular
Yes.
because it has an adjectival thing going around.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
And is it a light verb?
This get is a light verb. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
We
And
won't write down here light verb, mind you, in the
yes,
syntax.
yes, of course.
Okay.
So they overlap. A light verb can be copular in the syntactic
A
analysis.
light verb can be transitive, ditransitive, copular, whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Light is a semantic notion. Light means like quasi devoid of meaning, so to put it. Okay? Because most of the times, the verb is the predicator. When that is not the case, then in that case, what you have is a light verb.
So light verbs can be either IVs and copular verbs or only copular verbs.
No, anything. TV,
Everything, okay.
whatever. Yes, anything. Yes.
What about run a business? Run, is it a copular verb there?
No. No. Run is what kind of verb there?
Light.
TP.
TV.
Sensitive.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, TV.
I thought that you were saying about semantics. Okay.
Okay. Follow. Later on, I will share a couple of things on semantics for you to read, and you will finish understanding all of this that we're talking about. Okay, because this will be very important when it comes to analyzing them in terms of generative grammar. Okay. I mean, here you don't write down light verb at all. Okay. What else? Come on.
I don't know if there's another question, but I have another. I don't want
Well, come
to
on,
be.
shoot, come on, shoot, come on.
In extract 7, in the second sentence of extract 7, it says, had found a job in an important company. Sorry. In that case, in an important company, I thought it was an adjunct of place. But then when it comes to the keys, I found that it was a kind of post modifier. And I found that in one of the keys, you said that there were 2 options for some of these structures.
This is one of the cases. This is one of these cases. This sentence is fully ambiguous, meaning it could be that the job was in an important company, okay, so post modifier, or it may be the case that in an important company has to do with the finding, okay, so both possibilities are correct.
Okay.
right?
There was another kind of structure what was very similar, what was the flat, a semi-detached house in extract 7 also, but at the end, a semi-detached house with a small garden at the front. In that case, I would say it's a post modifier because
Which one? What PP? What PP are you talking about?
the
front?
extract 7.
Yes, this one here.
And it says a semi-detached house there.
Have on the screen, yeah.
But in a small garden at the front, yes.
Okay, but what PP are you talking about? Because you have two.
With a small garden in the front. I would say it's a post modifier of house.
Yes.
In that case, it's more clear that it refers to the house.
In that case, that is the only option.
Because by doesn't have to do with a small garden.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have to look for the details of the verb in that case.
Absolutely. Always you have to go back to the, you know what, more technically speaking, let's say, to the predicator. Okay, very frequently that would be the verb. Okay.
So it has to do with the way we interpret the sentence, let's say, because in the case of he had found a job in an important company, both options, whether a post modifier.
Yes, in that case, both options are correct. But in this case, there is only one intended meaning. Okay.
Of course.
And at the end of this extract, there's a verb travel, and in the keys it says that abroad was a subjective complement. I think no, it's not at the end. Sorry, it was in the middle. And they even traveled abroad.
Travels abroad.
And I thought it was an adjunct. I don't know why.
It could be. Yes, it can. It can be considered an adjunct. Yes, it can be considered an adjunct. Yes. Okay. Because travel carries a lot of meaning and does not necessarily need, the mention of the abroad. Yes.
In that sentence, what kind of adverb is even?
What kind of adverb?
Of adjunct, sorry.
What kind of adjunct? Okay.
Is it kind of manner or
absolutely
yes. Or there's a kind
emphasis,
of
degree, all of those are within manner. Okay. Yes. If you write down manner, that's okay. Okay. What else? Go on.
Yes, I don't know if we talked about this, but the difference is between IV with subjective complement and a copular verb.
Okay. There are not many cases of IVs with an SC. Okay. Not that many. For example, the typical one is which one?
Go to a place.
Go, whatever. Okay. Yes. Another one that you can think of.
The verb, a verb plus an
Live in I don't know where. In whatever. Okay.
Move.
Yes. What about move, for example? Okay. Move, the problem is that it has different meanings. Okay. if you don't have it with anything at all, it will mean like change place. Okay, can you please move because I cannot see the screen? Okay, in that case, you see, I don't need to say, can you please move to the right or to the left? Okay. Now, whenever you have this with the meaning of, let's say, to move from a place to some other place, you move from Buenos Aires, probably you move to Italy, you move to, I don't know what place, or somebody moved in. Okay, so in that case, you need something else. Okay, in that case, you need something else. So move depending on the meaning. Okay.
So in that case, it's an move is an IV with a subjective complement, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Unless you have, let's say, he moved away. That's in that case intransitive phrasal verb. He moved in intransitive phrasal verb. Okay, right? Because look at what happens there. If you take away the element, the PP there, you need to have instead of it an adverb that turns it into an intransitive phrasal verb. Okay? What I mean is, if I say, he moved to, Belgrano last year or last week, or I don't know, whatever. Okay? If I do away with this, okay, I need to have something else instead with that meaning. Okay, so I could have chosen to say he moved away. Okay, and in that case, that is an intransitive phrasal verb, which tells you that this IV requires a subjective complement. Okay. Is it clear? Very frequently, the particle that you insert instead of this PP, for example, will be away. Of course, there are other possibilities, right? But very frequently, the one that you that replaces this PP in this case, in these cases, is a particle away. Okay. What else?
Well, copular verb.
Well, in order for it to be considered copulative, okay, you need to be able to replace it by the verb be. Let's say, he seems, let's say, tired, or he looks tired, or something along these lines. Of course, these are, pretty much the same meaning as he is. Okay.
And in that case, always what follows is an adjective or?
I wouldn't say always in grammar, but yes, most likely.
Most of the time.
Most likely, well, it will be. Okay. Or sometimes, let's say, something predicative. Something predicative means either an adjective Or let's say a noun phrase. He seems my friend. Okay. Probably not what looks now. Okay. Right. So these are the copulative verbs.
Become as well.
Become is always a copulative verb. Yes, always. Absolutely. Yes.
And for example, he grew tired or angry. Grew angry. Grew is the
Yes,
couplet.
exactly. Yes. He grew angry. He grew old. Yes, exactly. Yes. Copulative. Yes. It involves the process. That's the difference. Okay. And then angry is the result, not the state. Okay. But still is a copulative verb.
And it is a light verb. Is it a light verb?
Yes. Yes.
With the word immediately is an adjunct of time, of man, or manner.
Either. Some adjuncts can be, can have like two or even more than two interpretations. For example, even let's say never, you can write down adjunct of negation or adjunct of time. Okay? As you wish.
When we have to reduce and say adjunct of concession, how do you spell adjunct of concession, with AC or
No, because you have way too many with C, so at least conc.
Great.
In the case of the sentence that's just above, when Susan left him at the age of 40, I think the first clause, until 40, is an adjunct. But
Yeah.
of what type?
This is adjunct of time. When Susan left him at the age of 40, he did whatever, right? It has to do with when he did whatever. Okay, here, they realized, okay? So this is when he realized what he had done. At some point, he realized what he had done. Okay? So it's an adjunct of time. Yes. For example, this verb. This can be, you know what? Depending on the context, any type. It can be IV, TV, DITV. Okay, depending on the context, of course. To leave can be, you can say, he left, full stop, IV. He left his office at 10, TV. He left me his keys, DITV, well, etc., etc. You see, that's why you need to pay attention to the context in which they appear. Because virtually with grammar, you can do whatever you want to. That's the point. Okay? I don't know whether I have given you the sentence, but for example, if I say, I don't know, Daddy, grandma's all day. You can very well analyze the sentence. Okay. What is the head of the predicate?
Grammars.
What kind of verb?
Intransitive.
Have you seen it in the dictionary?
No.
No, but you understand the meaning. This is what you need to pay a lot of attention to. This is clearly the verb. Yes, exactly.
But what is it, NIV? If we have something after it.
Yes,
No,
but
no.
it's
This all day has to do with time.
Yeah, it's not required also.
Old dog.
No, all day.
All day. I thought it said dog.
Yeah. Ah, okay. No, sorry, but I'm writing. Yeah, all day. Yeah, no. Okay. No, grandma's old dog. I don't know. To tell you, I don't understand the sentence. To tell you the truth.
No, I didn't as well. That's why I asked.
Well,
Sorry.
you see, yeah. So
If
if you happen not, sorry, if you happen not
Yes.
to understand the meaning of a sentence, you know, so you can very well ask me, okay? What's the meaning of this?
And what
So,
if that happens in a, well, in the exam or something, that there's a word that we don't know?
it will happen in the exam for sure.
You said it won't?
Will happen in a grammar exam. Be ready to find something that you've never seen.
And
know,
what shall we
that you
do?
have never seen, okay? You will understand because you will have an extract, and from that extract you will understand what it means. You will have to recover the meaning from somewhere else. Okay?
When it comes to dates, like 9th of November, or I don't know, there was on extract 8, there was a date, and it was treated as a pronoun.
Yes, because here you have the numbers, because the whole thing has been so, let's say, iconic, okay, that people just say this thing and the whole number, okay, the whole date replaces a very shocking event. Okay?
Okay.
So it's replacing something else.
Because well, in that case, because I thought that the date already is a noun instead of a pronoun.
No,
in a way.
But
no?
if you have a number, I don't think so. No.
Great.
You say.
And if I had it written just like 1st of November or November the 1st.
Well, okay. If you have 1st of November, first would be the head, which is a pronoun. The rest is a post-modifier. Okay.
So numbers would be pronouns because they were replacing.
Pronouns or determinants.
Or determinants if they have another noun there going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. For example, if we have something like in the 90s, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. Right? This 90s is a pronoun there. Okay. It is kind of acquiring, or probably has also acquired the, the status of 90s. Yes.
Isn't it a noun?
In a way, it is, yes, probably it is. It has to do with, some process that I told you about, I think, which is grammaticalization.
Okay.
Means sometimes you have an item which takes the place of a whole expression. Okay? Right? In some cases, in particular, for example, if I say, I don't know, the poor, let's say, laugh, whoever. Say president, or whatever. The problem is that you can never write down such a thing as subject adjectival phrase. No way. Okay, so here this has taken the place of a noun. Okay, this is a noun phrase, right? Because this implies what? The poor people love whoever. Okay, right? The problem is that people is a word of wide denotation. So this is an instance of what we call in grammar a fused head. Okay, mean the adjective takes the place of the noun phrase whose head is a word of wide denotation. Okay, let me give you another example.
Does it only happen with adjectives or?
No, no, no. I was about to give you, something different. For example, imagine that you have, by then, he will have seen, blah, 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 whatever. Okay, well, of course, this is an adverbial adjunct of time, PP. Then is originally an adverb. Okay, but what happens here? This is a preposition. Then this becomes the object of the preposition. And then, in this case, has acquired a kind of nominal status. This is some instance of a fused head, because if we write down object to the preposition, we cannot write down within brackets adverb any longer. Okay? What will we have here? What is the category of this one?
Pronominal phrase.
Yes, just pronoun. Okay? Just pronoun will do.
The same happens with demonstratives. I like these.
Well, this in that case is a pronoun, okay? But this is something that happens very frequently, meaning determinants very frequently work pronominally, okay? Right? So in this case, it's not considered to be an instance of fused head, okay? Anyway, you're not going to write down fused head, but you need to be able to provide examples of this.
But what? Okay. Sorry, but what? Why is it an adjunct of time?
I mean, let's say that the sentence was, by then we will have understood whatever, whatever, okay? This is when he will have understood whatever. Of course, they're giving you just, the same happens with by now or things like those. This is what I'm trying to make a point of. Okay?
When it comes to conjuncts such as however or what, however, how do you state the category? Is it an adverb or what?
No, the other way around. Conjunct is a category.
Okay, so and what about the function?
The problem is that typically you don't have room for, writing down because they tend to be kind of short. That's why, if you have, let's say, and, but, or something like that, okay, in initial position in a sentence, if you write down, let's say, conjunct, that will do. The function actually is sentence adjunct, okay? But very frequently, or most of the time, now I have even forgotten about this. If you don't want to write it down, no problem. Okay, so
Jose?
yes.
Yes, does exist the word disjunct? I used to
Yes.
because in one assignment you didn't correct it. I wrote a dot d adverbial disjunct. For example, the word eventually, and between brackets I wrote modality adverb of cognition, I think I wrote. But yesterday, as I did the assignment, I have a question. I doubted whether the word now is an adjunct of time, or it can be extranuclear of the sentence, and I can write a disjunct. Would you accept if I write a adverbial
It will depend on the sentence, to tell you the truth. Okay.
Okay.
That will depend on the sentence. Okay.
I thought that this chance has to do with opinion, the opinion of the writer.
Exactly.
Perhaps
exactly.
maybe
The disjunct has to do with the
volition,
evaluation. Evaluation.
Okay.
Why? Probably in the sentence that you gave, and yeah, I thought, okay, this is possible, you know. Eventually could have been taken, I don't remember the actual sentence, but it could have been taken like the opinion of the narrator.
Okay.
Evaluation of the narrator. Okay.
Like personally, naturally, or something like that.
Absolutely, yes, yes.
Eventually, finally, if I have, however, also, right? However,
however is always the conjunct. Why? Because however does not involve the evaluation of the narrator.
Okay, now I get it.
Right?
And what about firstly, secondly, are they disjuncts?
They are distant because they are they are distant in terms that they organize your text.
But weren't that those conjuncts, because they kind of coordinate the sentences over the whole?
No, they organize the paragraph. They are discoursal. They are discoursal, meaning they have they don't refer, conjunct refers that they are joining a couple of sentences, just that. Okay?
But Jose,
and
disjuncts are beyond that. Okay?
But if I say at firstly, secondly, to sum up, that would be conjuncts or not?
No, they are disjuncts eventually. No. To sum up is precisely the voice of the narrator that is telling you.
But I had that. I read that on books. I will check it out and tell you where.
Yes, sure, let me know.
But Jose, and for example, you said when it is at the beginning joining sentences, you said.
Yes.
But is it?
But in initial position of a sentence, you have a sentence, then full stop, then the next sentence starts with but, and so on and so forth. Okay.
Otherwise, it would be a coordinating conjunction, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
And I came across that and can be a position marker also. The book is
what?
A position marker. And
yes, this appears in Jespersen 1917. Yes, exactly, it does. Yes, you are right. To tell you the truth, in these kind of show words, I will give you clues here or there. Okay, you can very well ask me in the exam.
Great.
Let you know. Yes.
And
don't know much about these tiny things. Yes, come on.
And in extract 8, we have a month later, he wouldn't satisfied what she requested. And it was very difficult for me to tell whether it was a WH focus or a nominal relative clause. And in the keys, it says it's a nominal relative clause. But
No.
I'm not sure about that.
No, it's a WH focus. You know what? In a way, it's WH focus, to tell you the truth. No.
Oh, so the key is wrong there.
Yes, exactly. If you read out the whole extract, this what is the key to the whole extract. It does require some emphasis there. Months later, he wouldn't satisfy what she requested. Remember what? Yeah,
so
correct.
it's WH focus. Great.
Yes. Yes. But that one is again, you know, that I understand that it's kind of difficult to tell.
Yes, because in the key you had the explanation of why it was a nominal relative clause, but it was cut, and I didn't know why. Perhaps it was a mistake.
Now, so probably you are going, you know, think of, let's say, the most important issues when it comes to analyzing the sentences. First of all, there must be a clear correspondence between some functions and some categories on the one hand. I mean, the analysis of all of the clauses on the other hand. Let's say the clear separation into subject and predicate, the correct separation into subject and predicate, the correct hierarchy in a sentence. Okay, this is what is important. These are the details very frequently I give you the answer. Okay, you have a problem, you can very well ask me. Okay.
Great.
In particular, nominal relative or the WH focus, you know, or let's say, is it a conjunct or a disjunct? No, these are tiny details. The most important thing is how to analyze and not to, let's say, at this point, you shouldn't have, let's say, example, let me tell you things that are impossible. Well, which I guess that now you very well know. Let's say, imagine that I write down adjunct of time or adjunct of manner, between brackets, adjectival phrase. Or let's say, post modifier, that noun clause. Or I don't know, things like those, which will be not wrong, but very wrong in grammar 2. Okay? Adjuncts are never adjectival, the post modifier is never nominal. Okay, things like those. Okay? Or, you know, some other thing, the conventions. If I write down, let's say, PM, what is it that I read here?
Pre-modifier.
Only pre-modifier. Okay? So to make a point of, let's say, the post-modifier in a different way. Okay? Or let's say auxiliary for the something that I've seen, you know, in an exam that I corrected, I think it was last week, auxiliary for the well, I don't remember, but let's put it, modality aspect. Instead, what the hell it says? You know, to begin with auxiliaries with capital letters, at this point, come on. How many assignments have we corrected? On top of that, modality and aspect has nothing to do. They have nothing to do with each other. Modality will never be aspectuality. They are different grammatical terms. Okay? Or, I don't know, let me give you another one. Imagine that you have, he, say, or the wall was painted last week, whatever. And you write down was auxiliary for the progressive aspect. You say, what? No, these things are the things that will say no. Immediately this, you will have like a big cross like this. Okay. So these are the things that you need to definitely avoid. Okay. All right. Well, okay, come on, let's start to correct number 10. Okay. I don't know whether you found it a bit more difficult than the others or not. Okay. For example, the first sentence I think this is the kind of easy one, I think. Okay, what kind of sentence is this one?
Simple.
Simple, definitely.
Sorry,
Show me
what's the
sun.
label for simple? Because it's not in the book.
Simple.
Okay.
Subject noun phrase. Head noun. You know, some other inconsistencies that can appear once in a while. Imagine that somebody writes down noun, head pronoun. What? There is a mismatch there. Okay? Right. The predicate is what category?
Compound verb phrase.
Exactly. Very good. So gave is a head, what kind of verb?
Transitive.
Transitive.
You see, SI is a GO noun phrase. You see, this gave is a verb of omission. This is a light verb. Give is typically dative. Okay? But here you see it's clearly a TV, just that. Well, and is a CCC, put is a head TV. Then his head is a GO on my shoulder.
Adverbial of place.
Objective complement.
Objective complement.
Objective complement.
It's required. Yes, it's required, definitely. You cannot take it away, definitely. It's objective complement. Okay? Just stop me if you have any other questions, you know, or something that I kind of...
Sorry, could put be a ditransitive verb?
Which one?
Put something somewhere. No?
No, the somewhere cannot become the subject of the clause. No.
Okay.
No. Put is only TV, you know, it's a, technically speaking, it's a complex TV. I mean, a TV that requires an OC. Okay? Then, in the third sentence, type of sentence, I think, is compound complex.
Yes, compound complex.
Okay. Right down here, complex. Okay. That's it. The subject of which is someone watching, and the rest is the predicate of a phrase. Okay, in the predicate, any problems? So kind of quickly, let's say this is head verbal group, auxiliary for the modality, auxiliary for the perfective aspect, thought is a head TV, all of this is a GO, which is what category?
That noun clause.
Absolutely. With angular brackets. Okay, within which he is the subject, the rest is the predicate of a phrase. Okay, was is the auxiliary for the progressive aspect, being the head copulative verb, and enthusiastic is the subjective complement adjective. Okay?
Yes.
Hello. Now, the subject. What category is that one?
Is it a gerundial clause?
Gerundial
I
clause.
wrote infinitival
It, dep-
clause.
it depends on whether watching is a reduced clause.
No. For me, I think it is a participial clause.
Yes,
Okay.
I wrote.
Yes,
Present participial clause.
No,
Okay.
because it functions as subject. So it has
Absolutely.
nominal.
Careful with this. Now, okay. See, I knew that this would be problematic. Okay. Do check out page 03. Okay. Do you remember this one? Okay. Of course, when you analyze it, you will have it next to you, I guess. Okay. But make sure that you have seen it, meaning the subject can never ever be a participial clause. Okay. Now, think of the meaning. What happens here? You see?
But Jose, I have a question there. If I think of someone as a pronoun,
Yes.
and watching as a post modifier of someone.
Well, that is the answer.
Ah, sorry. But in that
the
case,
answer.
but it's
Precisely. This is a pronominal phrase. This is a pronoun. Okay? Because this watching could have been taken away.
So it's not a gerund.
Definitely not.
Ah,
no.
Okay.
No.
I can say someone who is watching.
Yes.
It is a reduced clause.
Okay,
so,
but don't write down, reduced clause at all. Let's analyze, let's stick to what we have. Okay? So in this case, this is a post modifier to someone. And this is a participial clause. Okay, within which we need to divide it into subject and predicate. Then the subject here is an empty category pro co-index with someone. The rest is the predicate verbal phrase. And here comes another problem. The head of this predicate is watching, which is what kind of verb?
Transitive. You watch something.
And where the hell is the GO?
The gap.
Gap only in some defining relative clauses.
Use only intransitive.
Maybe
so
a
it's
pseudo intransitive.
Exactly, that's it. It's a TV working without an object because you can recover the object from the context. Watching what? Watching us. Because in the previous sentence you have, Tommy gave a sigh and put his head on my shoulder. And the idea is someone watching us, somebody watching the situation might have thought he was being enthusiastic. Okay, so this narrator, the narrator in this book is Helen, I think she was called. Well, this narrator is kind of, let's say, kind of interpreting what a passerby would have said. Okay? In a way, she's kind of transferring all of what she thinks to what a passerby might have thought. Okay? Right? You see? So, you see that the point is the following. Watching could have been taken away. Definitely. So here is a post modifier. Why? Because in a way, someone, again, is kind of unspecific. That's why she feels the need to say someone watching. in a way, you did recognize that it's a reduce clause. Yes, exactly. It is. Okay.
Jose, if the sentence where someone watching might have thought an idea that, for example, with no clause at the end, do you say that is a simple sentence or is a complex sentence? Do we say that it's complex? Because
simple. That is a pronoun, not a clause.
No, I know, but the non-finite clauses are taken into account to say that.
Non-finite, good point. No, never ever. Yes, exactly. No.
So if I have a simple sentence with a non-finite clause inside, would be simple. Keep
exactly.
Simple.
Yes.
You don't say it's complex.
Non-finite clauses do not affect the type of sentence that you have. Let's say,
Great.
I want to pass grammar is a simple sentence. Okay, even though it contains two clauses, one of which is non-finite. Okay, right? So non-finite clauses do not affect the type of sentence that you have. Okay. Okay. How are we doing with time? Fine. Well, okay. Let's move on then. But careful for the but, not just ACC, but AGVCC, because you know there is another one that starts with an A, the alternative coordinating conjunction. Okay? Right? Well, in the second main clause, you have I is the subject, the rest is the predicate for both phrase, new is a TV, then you have a GO, which is what category?
WH, vocal, noun clause.
Absolutely. See that now you get it. With angular brackets, of course. Okay? Within which, well, he is the subject, the rest is the predicate. You have a verbal group. Here was it auxiliary for the progressive aspect. What about feeling? What kind of verb is that one then?
Copular verb.
No, transitive. If what is the direct
Transitive.
object?
Exactly. This is a TV. What is a TO? Yes. He was feeling something. Okay, what is clearly a TO? It's fully nominal. Okay. Well, then let's go on because there are a couple of other problematic sentences. Well, I guess that all of them are, or many of them are. Okay.
The last one, I think that have two possible analyses.
This one we've been thinking
No, the last one. I mean, yes, we'll have to see what she says.
This one, you mean? We'll have to see. What are the possible analyses? Okay.
I think that we can consider, on the one hand, have to as a modal auxiliary, or we can consider have on the one hand and to see on the other.
Who is the subject? The rest is the predicate.
Yeah.
Now, what is the head of this predicate?
And we'll have to see.
Yes. Do you agree? Now, what about the auxiliaries there?
Will auxiliary for the future.
You don't call it for the future, it's for the modality.
I don't know. Okay. Modal auxiliary, okay.
right? And what about the rest?
On the one hand, I thought that have to can be a modal auxiliary also. And C, a transitive verb.
It is, that is correct. Have to is the same as must. Okay? You have an auxiliary for the modality.
So there is only one possibility for this analysis, because
I think so, yes. What are the possibilities you think?
No, in the books I found some sentences that were confusing, that were seems to be that one.
Okay, but that verb just carry some meaning. That's why in those cases, okay, you have some alternatives. But in this other case, have to is clearly must. Only that we cannot say we will must see. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Now, what about this other one? This clause. This is the GO for this TV. What category?
A nominal relative clause.
I would say WH focus.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. We have to see what she says precisely. Okay. She's kind of wondering, okay, what she says, meaning this what is, will she allow us to do I don't know what or not? Okay. Then there is another one that, you know, the one that I love in this extract, then probably if we have the time, we will check it out all together, okay? But the one sentence that I love is this one. What type of sentence is this one?
Simple sentence.
Do you agree?
The thing is that the thing is
complex.
Is it compound
Well, simple.
or
No,
complex?
Compound. No, it's absolutely complex.
But if we think, if we get that this, we can organize something that is the direct object, isn't it?
All of this is the direct object for set.
Okay. Yes,
Right?
yes. Okay.
So here's the subject. Okay. All the rest is the predicate verbal phrase, within which you have a TV. That's why you have a GO here. So
yes, but what category? That's the point.
Aha! Here comes the problem.
I wrote
this is a conditional.
Oh, well. For me, it's a clause, like a main clause in a way.
Main clause? No, this is said.
Well, this is a conditional sentence, so
whether
no,
it's not a condition.
Okay, why not? Okay, why not a condition?
Because it's the whole.
Yes, the analysis is like this. You know, if this sentence were something like, he said, if we got this, we could organize something, you wouldn't have any problems at all. Because in that case, it would have been, all of this would have been a that noun clause. Now, let's see what a that noun clause is then. A that noun clause in this type of construction will be the reported clause. Or let's say, when you say, he thinks that I blah, 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 whatever. He thinks that I'm stupid. Okay, so this that I'm stupid is the noun clause. This is what he thinks. Okay, verbs of thinking or verbs of communication, typically, you can have a GO, which is a noun clause. Most of the time you have seen something like that, okay? Now, this clause is not a reported clause, but an unreported one, okay? Mean you have the inverted commas there. You have, this is literally what he said. And this is called verbatim clause. Whenever you have direct speech or direct thought, okay, meaning, and on top of that, you will have the inverted commas, okay. This is the words that somebody said or thought, okay, in a literal way, and this is what is called a verbatim clause. Is the unreported thing.
Jose?
Yes.
Let me see if I correctly understood you. So direct speech will be verbatim clauses, and they will always be direct objects in the sentences. Yeah, geo.
Well, I don't know whether always geo, let's say. It will depend on the context. Very frequently they are, okay?
Because
Yes,
they say that. They
Now,
say that, they think that.
In that case, you do have a than and clause.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, in this case, he said, if we get this.
Yes,
so
yes,
were...
yes. This is literally what he said. Yes. Okay. Right. Well, within it now, it will be much clearer, I think, because we need to divide it into subject and predicate. The subject of this one is
we.
Which one?
The second one.
The second.
Then all the rest is the predicate verbal phrase. Within the predicate, the head of this predicate is
organize.
Can organize.
Yes.
Verbal group. Can is the auxiliary for the modality. Organize is a head GFE. So we need to have a geo, which is something. What category?
Pronoun.
Yes, yes. Somebody, something, nobody, nothing, anything. These are pronouns, yes. And then, what is, we get this.
They're
another condition.
VO.
It's an item to condition. This is on what condition we can organize whatever. It's an item to condition. So what category is this one then?
Adverb clause.
Yes. So therefore, with some other angular brackets. Okay? And the rest will be very straightforward, I think. If it is subordinating conjunction, the rest is divided into subject and predicate. And within this other predicate, get is a TV. And this is a geo, which is a pronoun. Is it clear now? You see that the point was that there existed like two clauses, they are one within the other. Okay? Right? Okay?
And what about the previous sentence?
Okay.
I have a question with, about this sentence, Jose. Sorry. I don't get why this sentence is not a whether if noun clause. What's the difference?
Okay.
When can I have that clause?
Okay. Whether noun clause is a type of noun clause or nominal clause, mean it needs to have a nominal function. Compare these two sentences. Let me give you a couple of examples there. For example, let me erase some things. Let me close it and open it again eventually. Because otherwise. For example, I can tell if you have fun to if you will be able to success. These are the things that you need to be well aware of. Okay, and actually, these will be the things that you're expected to find, or some of the questions that you're expected to find in the oral component very frequently, in the part of the theory, I mean. Very frequently, the question, I will share a file with you today, okay, in which you have contrast this versus that, this and that, this and that, this and that, this and that, and so on and so forth, okay? Well, what is to contrast? To be able to tell apart X and Y, but not in, let's say, isolated sentences or isolated examples that don't have anything to do with each other. But in a way, you use sometimes the same clause or something, not exactly the same, but virtually more or less, probably will be. Probably you adapt it a bit, meaning, let's say, instead of was, will be, or something like that. Never meant that, okay? But compare, for example, these two clauses. Okay, in number one, this is clearly will function.
Idiot.
Sorry, but wouldn't me be outside the direct object?
Okay. No, no.
No, because it corresponds with the understood.
Understood.
You
Yeah,
have
exactly.
understood me.
Yes, understood me. Yes, exactly. Okay. Precisely, you can say, I can tell me. No. Okay. I can tell here is a TV, you see? By the way, this tell is a TV. Mean I can recognize. Okay, if you have understood me. Now, what about the catcher of the DO?
If
But
whether noun
If whether
clause,
noun clause.
non-close, yeah.
If whether noun clause.
Yes.
Do we have to write both?
Yes. Okay, anyway, it will be kind of longish, so you will have no problems there. Now, what about in the second case?
Here it would be an adjunct of condition.
Absolutely.
like provided, that if replaces many, like provided, well,
Provided you have understood me, yes. This if is the same as provide, yes, exactly. Okay, and what catcher is then?
Adverbial clause.
Adverbial clause.
Jose, would you say that if we replace the verb, we can distinguish better what kind of verb is it? As in the example of tell replaced by recognize. No, yes, I can recognize if you.
Yes, of course. This is one of the tests that you can apply. Yes, exactly. Yes. Okay. But anyway, if it were a dative, because tell typically is a dative, okay? But if it were a dative, you would need to have a do and an IO, okay? Right? Unless the sentence is in the passive voice, okay? But going back to the contrasts, what I want you to be able to do is come up with examples of your own in which you have, like, you know, an if clause that sometimes is nominal and some other times is adverbial. Okay, and then you have, apart from this, many other contrasts that you have to be able to work on. Okay, so this is like the minimal pairs of phonology, let's say. Okay, either you understand all of them or none of them. Okay, right? If you, for example, what I can never ever have is such a thing as, let's say, adjunct of condition with ref noun clause. This is, again, okay, the adjunct is basically adverbial in itself, then the clause cannot be nominal. Okay, you understand what to make contrasts means? Okay, to be able to provide clearly contrastive examples. Okay, sometimes you have to adapt the tense or something like that. Okay, in which you, let's say, give an example of A and B. Okay, and just that. But is it clear now? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, let's go back to the other sentence that we were analyzing here. Then today I will share this file. If I happen to forget for whatever reason, please do send me an email to remind me too, but I don't think I will. I mean, if I, by today you don't have such a file that I promised, okay, just send me an email. Okay, Then, there was some other sentence. What about this one here? We've been thinking about deferrals, the theory about the gallery, all of it for so long, and now suddenly, here we were. There are a couple of issues here, I guess. There's a 10 minutes, so we have 10 minutes. Type of sentence?
Compound complex.
Compound complex.
Compound complex.
We've been thinking what compound complex? What is the
Wrote
sub?
only
Is it just
compound.
compound?
Compound. Yes, it's just compound. What is the subordinate clause there? Okay. Just compound. Okay. In the first one, the subject is we, pronominal phrase, a pronoun. All the rest is the predicate verbal phrase. The head of which, the head of this predicate is?
Had been
The
thinking
verb
about.
group
I've been thinking about.
been thinking about.
Remember that, and again, some other thing that is impossible. For example, the GO will never be a PP. Okay? Right? The GO is fully nominal, so much so that it can become the subject of a clause. Okay? So all of this is the head verbal group. This D stands for what? Had. So it's the auxiliary for the
Perfective aspect.
I insist in low case letters, right? Aspect. Being is the auxiliary for the
Progressive aspect.
Progressive aspect.
aspect. And then you have thinking about, which is the head, not of the predicate, but of the verbal group, which is a
Prepositional verbs.
Prepositional verbs.
yes.
Transitive.
Prepositional verbs are always transitive, so no need to write down the T there.
Okay.
Okay. So if you do write it down, I mean, I will cross it out, but I mean, I won't discount any points, okay? Because it's right. But just to make it sure. So about is the particle preposition. Then we need to have a GO. Which one?
Referrals, the theory about the gallery, but for so long.
Not exactly.
Until all of it.
Until all of it.
Up to gallery.
Until all of it.
I've been thinking about this. Okay, this GO is a compound noun phrase. Refers the head noun. There is some other head noun which is theory.
Theory.
This is a premodifier determiner. The gallery is a postmodifier PP. About is the head preposition. Well, etc. The gallery is the object of the preposition, noun, phrase, premodifier determiner, head noun. And what is all of it?
Is it a non-restricted apposition or not?
Yes, it is. This, all of it stands for all of the elements that have been mentioned before. It's a non-restricted opposition. Yes, exactly. What category?
Pronominal phrase.
Yes. Then you have a head pronoun, all, and of it is a post-modifier PP. Okay. So far so good. You see that the meaning is very important throughout. Okay? You need to understand that this, all of it is kind of replacing the enumeration that was being referred to. Okay? Okay. And what about for so long?
It's an adverbial absent of time, I think. I'm not sure.
Why not? Yes, it is. This is for when, for how long, let's say. Yes, exactly. This is what category? It's a PP. Yes, you're right. Very good, Flavia. Come on. Yes. Then for, and here comes the problem, is the head preposition. What about the rest? Is the object to the preposition? What category?
Pronominal phrase.
Okay, very good guess. For sure, not an adjectival thing, not a verbial. Okay, no, it's a noun phrase. Long, it means time. Yes, long does mean time. So long is a noun. This long has acquired the full status of long period of time.
Is this another example of a fused head or no?
Yes, exactly. Only that he has reached the full process of grammaticalization. Okay?
Okay.
Yes, but that's correct. Okay. And what about so?
Pre-modifier.
Category? Yes. Yes, it's an adverb. You see that adverbs, these things can appear all around. Okay? Even as a pre-modifier to a noun. Okay? Here we have some other example. Okay? The rest, I think, is kind of much more straightforward. Well, this and is the CCC. Then in the other clause, you have we is the subject, pronominal phrase, the pronoun. All the rest is the predicate of our phrase. Within the predicate, the head is were, which is a copulative verb. So we need to have a subjective complement. Which one?
Here.
Yes, the one that is the closest. Very good. Yes. What category? An adverb. Remember that the subjective complement can be any category. And now, uncertainly, a items of, well, now is clearly of time. Uncertainly, you can have a couple of things at least. Items of what do you think?
Manner.
Manner.
Okay, manner even. Manner and time. Manner is better, yes. I should write down alpha, that will do. Okay, yes. Well, can you follow more or less? Let me see.
In the sentence where it says, I don't know why you're so optimistic, Tommy.
Okay, that one, yes, that one is a very interesting one. Well, yes, exactly. What is? Yes, what about it? Yes.
I was stuck on Tommy, and I'm still stuck.
Come on, you know what Tommy is. You very well know what it is. First of all, what type of sentence? Complex, right? But then it goes up to optimistic. I mean, this is a vocative. Okay, right? This is outside of the predication. Okay, vocatives lie outside the predication. Okay, it is complex because here you have, you know, some other subordinate clause. Okay, right? The rest, I think, will be kind of straightforward. To know is the head of a group. None, this is the adjunct termination outside of a group. Do is the auxiliary for the negation. Know is the head TV. All of this is the geo vocatory.
WH focus.
Focused.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Within which you is the subject, the rest is the predicate verbal phrase. This is the copulative verb, subjective complement, adjectival phrase. Optimistic is the head adjective, so is the pre-modified adverb. Y is the accent of reason, which is a WH focused adverb. Well, okay, so it's kind of high time. Well, so let's organize ourselves then. So what I have to do is send you the file of contrasts. Okay, for you to prepare for the oral component. Then, for next time we will correct, we said 11 and every other thing that was pending. Okay, right? And what else? Let me see. We have next week is the second, it must be, I think. Right? Then we have the 9th, and then we have, next week will be the last before our test.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So you analyze everything that you're interested in, come up with all of the possible questions that you might have. By then you will have read the book like 50 times or so. And I think that's it.
Do we have to do extract up to 1? Up to what number?
Well, the point is that next week you will have the last time for you to ask questions. Eventually you will have, more time because you will be able to send me questions on whatever other doubt that you may have eventually. Okay. So, but the point is that number 11 is as difficult as this one, okay, or probably more difficult than this one. You practice, you know what? A lot of the, or many of the non-finite clauses, okay? Right, I think that in number 11 you do have probably 2 or 3 of them, because the non-finite clauses, you need to analyze them very well. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, at least 6 of them you have here. Okay, so you practice them a lot. Okay, then do all of the others if you have the time. Okay, right, or else you will do them, later on, and you will send me. The other thing that you can do is, for today you have to hand in, something, right? Is there any assignment that you have to hand in?
Yes. Assignment 4.
Yes. Okay, fine. Well, the other thing that I thought of is the others. What you can do is the following. You divide them among yourselves, okay? from number 12, 13, 14, 15, okay? Each of you tackles one sentence or a couple of sentences if you want to, okay? You send them to me for me to correct them, okay? And then I will share them with everybody, okay? All right, but probably after next week we talk about it, okay? So think of that, okay? Because next week the idea is to, let's say, identify all of the problems in number 11, okay? And with this, you will be able to analyze whatever you want to from the traditional point of view, okay?
So for the exam, it will be up to 11, up to extract 11?
For the exam, it will be everything on traditional. No. The point
great.
number 12, 13, 14, 15 are easier than the ones that we
Okay.
They are further practice, okay? The more you do, the more doubts you will have, and the more, you know, the better prepared you will be for the exam.
Great.
Okay? Right? Okay, no. All of the traditional analysis will be included in this midterm exam, okay? Right? And the other thing, anybody who was not here at the beginning today?
Leonidas.
Yes, I've seen you. Anybody
Yes,
else?
me,
Camila. Camila.
Claudio, yes. Camila.
Poliñano.
Yes, okay. Anybody else? Yes, I'm seeing you as well, yes.
Jose, so the exam would be on the 16th, right?
Yes, on the 16th, okay? Right? The point is that it's kind of longish. I don't know whether you can make it earlier on a Friday for you to have to kind of more time to do it. I don't know. Is that possible? Or let's say...
I can make it. I don't know my mates.
Well,
I can make it.
Anybody who cannot make it before that?
I can't. I have language at
Me neither.
10.
Yes, I have discourse analysis before this
Me
class.
too.
With Mortoro, okay.
Yes.
Okay, right. Okay, well, no, then in that case, we won't be able to do anything at all, no. Okay, but probably, let's see whether we can take it longer.
So how much time do we have to do the written
You
part?
need to be ready to do an extract, to analyze an extract in like less than an hour. Okay, meaning 5 to 7 lines in an hour at the most. Okay,
As difficult as extract 10 and 11.
Kind of, yes. It's not that. It will be between 5 and 7 lines. I don't remember how many lines these were. Okay, but it's between 5 and 7 lines, and it is as difficult as each of them. Yes.
We can do it manually. Take a picture and send it to you.
Yes.
The picture, or embedded in a Word document.
In a Word or a PDF document.
Great.
Okay. Eventually, we'll find a way. Probably, you know, I can even consider, in some cases, you know, that you have just the pictures. Okay, but let's see.
Great.
Okay. Well, so keep on practicing, keep on studying. Okay.
And the other part is oral, or is written?
Yes, the other part is oral and kind of quickly as well. Okay. So sorry about it, but this is
oral. So okay.
Oral and very. I will be as nervous as you will be, guys, or more nervous than all of you will be, guys. Okay. So don't take it personal, mind you. It may be kind of crazy that day because I usually am, you know, but well, let's see what we can do. Well, So see you next week.
See you
Bye
then.
bye.
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.